folks, Ty Cohen here from KindleCashFlow.com, and I've got a great interview. I've got someone that is amazing in heart, soul, personality. Not only is she beautiful, but she also has a beautiful story. We just had some fun talking in the background, and I can't wait for you to hear what she has going on as well. I think that anyone that's publishing content, period, whether it's on Amazon or it's on your own platform, would be pretty pleased with the method that she's using right now. So with that, I want to welcome Rebecca Holman. Make sure I do I have your last name right, Rebecca?
Yes, Holman.
Okay, all right, perfect. So Rebecca, tell us a little bit about you. What's your background like, and how did you get started with publishing content on Amazon?
Well, actually, I come from it in a sort of very weird and indirect way. I've been online since 1999. I worked for 7 years in the insurance industry, and I was a supervisor. And we got downsized in 1990 when, a lot of people got downsized. And so I looked around the landscape, and personally, I myself said, I never want to go to work in high heels and stockings again. So I looked around and I saw all of these up and coming tech companies that were beginning to start. I live in Montana, so it's not like it was Silicon Valley or anything like that, but they were starting to blossom here in the Montana landscape. We have a lot of entrepreneurs in Montana. And so I went over and I got myself signed up to start working for a software company, and I was an executive salesperson for them. And I had so much fun. It was really a great time, but it really got me into working online. This is when Google started, 1999. We literally could pick up the phone and call the CEO of Google. We could go over and call, some of the top people that were at Microsoft and other places. Bezos was just getting started with Amazon, right? Yeah. He was working out of his garage. So it was the very beginning of everything that was going on. We didn't even have, we were doing location-based aggregations. So getting zip codes and creating vertical portals for B&Bs and doing things like that. So, we didn't even have smartphones back then at all. So we didn't have any of this content that you have today on the internet for people to just look up and find something. So I've been fascinated and been online since 1999, and slowly but surely getting entrenched. Frank Kern was just getting started. Russell Brunson didn't even exist yet. I actually had bought Russell Brunson's first potato gun product, I think, when he first came out. So he lives in Idaho next door to me. So, just a really fresh marketplace. And so I started working for some online gurus, and I won't mention their names because I'm not a name dropper, but I worked for a couple of gurus, and I ended up working down the road for some gurus who were the top affiliates for the Amazing Selling Machine, which is an Amazon FBA program.
Yeah, very familiar with that.
Yeah, so I moderated their Facebook group for 4 years. We literally had about 100,000 people, come in and out of that group. You sign into the group, then after 30 days, we take people out. But the group consistently had about 10,000 people in it. And so I learned a lot about Amazon and FBA at that time. And so a lot about the rules, how Amazon works. And I watched people go from literally nothing to millionaires. Yeah. It was just amazing how Amazon had created this amazing platform that allowed people to do this. And of course, Kindle books were beginning to become all the rage around that same time. So I had started dabbling in Kindle books and things like that, and I don't like to write very much, so it was over my head. So I kind of stopped doing that, and I just went into Amazon FBA.
Right. But now, for those that are listening and may not be familiar with it, explain what FBA is.
FBA is for sale by Amazon. So I ship my products into, if you have Prime on Amazon, then that's an FBA seller. 9 times out of 10, it's a small mom and pop like myself who's selling that product to you. And either they're buying it from China or they're making it themselves. And they're the people who are sending it into Amazon's warehouses, and then it gets shipped to you. So much of the business that's on Amazon, people talk about Jeff Bezos being this bazillionaire. He became a bazillionaire by curating other people's content.
Yeah, leveraging other content. Yeah.
Leveraging other people's content, and at the same time, Walmart doesn't do it, Target doesn't do it, allowing people to become wealthy with him.
Right.
All right. So books, FBA, all of merch, shirts, all of these platforms allow people literally with no overhead to become business owners. Now with FBA, you do need some overhead for sure with FBA.
You do. Yeah, and that's actually how I got started with Amazon Kindle publishing. You know, I was part of Amazon's Advantage program, where you could ship physical books like this out, and you know, I would print my own books up, and we were selling thousands of books a month, and I would go in and ship them out to Amazon, and then Amazon would then go in and order fulfillment, returns, and everything else. And it's a great business, but you don't own those books, and you had to ship them and do all that other stuff. So no, these were books that I actually owned.
Oh, okay.
Yes, so my own physical books. Yes.
Okay, so you weren't just doing FBM kind of stuff. So,
right, and this is before
for sale by merchant. So.
Correct. This was before FBA. This was before Kindle Direct Publishing. So it was their Amazon Advantage program, which is probably still around, I think.
You can't sign up for it anymore. I think people who are in it were grandfathered in, but when you go to their page, they don't let you sign up anymore.
Gotcha.
And a lot of those people came over from eBay. So they were selling on eBay, and then they came to Amazon. So Amazon saw the opportunity and created another platform, because Jeff really wants to dominate everything.
Yeah, quickest way to dominate is bring the crowd with you, right?
Bring the crowd with you.
What else do you guys have? And that's it.
Exactly.
So now you're doing FBA, and
so I was doing FBA, and when I left the company, I couldn't work in a competitive. It was sort of like my not an NDA, but my non-compete clause. So when I left them, I couldn't do FBA. So I did decide, and I looked again at the landscape. I think, you know, things change. So when I left insurance, I looked at the landscape and went with the next new thing. And when I left doing that project with that guru, I looked at the landscape, and low content books were starting to become a thing. This is a few years ago. This is like 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay, and I'm going to stop you one more time right there. Low content books. What are they? What are we talking about?
So low content books, as I mentioned, I tried to do Kindle books and wasn't very successful, because I really don't like writing 10,000 words or 50,000 words. It's just not kind of where I sit. And I know you can hire people, and I do that sometimes. But low content books are planners, journals, notebooks. Well, there's no content, which literally are just lines and music paper interiors and those kinds of things. And when you think about, you know, you go to school, every kid needs a notebook. Right. So Amazon opened the doorway for people to take their graphic artwork and put it on a book cover, upload it, and just have lines inside. You could do that on Redbubble too, and other platforms where you're just putting a pretty image on a cover, and then just they are selling the interior. So that's not rocket science there.
What's the other site? Because I know my support, once we release this, they're gonna get questions. What was the Redbubble. Redbubble. Okay, there you go. Perfect.
People sell shirts and all kinds of. It's a print-on-demand platform. So
got it.
You know, and Cafe Press also. You can do the same thing. You can put artwork on a notebook and sell it. So what Amazon did was slightly different. There was CreateSpace, which was the print arm, and then so many of us were printing our books on CreateSpace. So we weren't doing Kindle at all. We
CreateSpace or Lulu.
Lulu's different, because
I still get royalties from Lulu.
There you go. You have
10,
to buy
11 years ago.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding! Really? Wow.
Yeah, I talk about this stuff all the time. I'm like, it kind of like I got started maybe about 20 years ago or so, and when I think about it, it's like interesting to see some of these companies still around.
Oh sure.
Lulu. Sure. I don't think they were around 20 years ago. I probably got started with them maybe about 16 years ago or so.
That's still a long time.
Yeah, the way I guided is we moved here from Connecticut 15 years ago, and I was starting, and I had been involved with Lulu and advantage before we moved here.
So you were writing books when you were 5?
No, I'm
You
48.
look so young.
I'm 48. Yeah, I'll take it. I'm almost 50 here. But
Black don't crack, baby. Black
that's
don't
exactly
crack.
it. That's exactly it. You know, and then my wife rubs this lotion and whatever the stuff is
Shea butter. Shea butter.
That's exactly it.
Mm-hmm.
That is exactly it. So
Secrets
now,
of Black Beauty.
listen, now we're gonna be selling a bunch of shea butter. I love this. All right, so now.
So low content books. So Amazon gave us the opportunity. Lulu, you have to pay.
Okay.
For your book, you have to pay your printing runs. You have costs. So Amazon took away those costs. Just like with merch, you can upload a shirt and don't have to have any money to start a t-shirt business. Well, Amazon created a way for people to upload their books, and not all you need is an internet connection. That's literally all you need. And so with CreateSpace, that was the print arm of Amazon, and KDP was the Kindle side of Amazon. So over time, Kindle authors had said, well, we want to have our books in print. Why can't we do that with print? So Amazon said, okay. So it was a convoluted path, as you well know, to take your Kindle book and get it to CreateSpace and then merge them together. So Amazon ultimately last year said, we're going to get rid of CreateSpace, which was a third-party company that they had access to, and we're going to merge it into KDP. So on KDP now, I can, which is Kindle Publishing, Kindle Direct Publishing, KDP. Yep. And so on KDP, I can now upload my book, and as long as it doesn't need to be written in, as long as it's just a book that somebody's reading, I can connect it with a Kindle book and have a Kindle version.
Isn't that a beautiful thing? It makes it so easier. So now your Kindle book, your physical book, and now even if you go in over on Audible, right? We're releasing a program that tells you how to go in and convert your books to audio in the next couple of weeks.
So you can have them all. Well, now low content books and no content books cannot be Kindle books. So that's the difference, because you need to write in them.
Low content books and no content books, that's very important. There cannot be Kindle books.
Right.
Beautiful.
There's a small caveat, which I'll get into here in just a second. So anything that has to be written in can't be on a Kindle. Number one, you'll get really seriously bad reviews if it does get approved by the reviewers, because a person will buy it on their Kindle, they can't write in it, and so you'll see tons of 1-star reviews, because people do make that mistake and sometimes the reviewers don't catch it. So just save yourself a headache and don't do it. But planners is a huge industry, multi-million-dollar industry. So making planners on Amazon has been a big push for this whole low content movement. That's kind of where people really got into it, being able to make quite a bit of money. I know people that make $20,000 a month doing low content. Wow. Doing notebooks. I could see that with notebooks and things like that. Especially if you're an artist and you have really great, graphic capabilities, and you're understanding how to research your niche. Just like with anything on Amazon, research a niche. Appealing to your niche is critical to being able to sell books. I also know people with 35,000 books that make pennies. Yes. So it's not the number of books, and that's kind of what's happening right now in this particular industry. Ingram Spark came out with an email yesterday saying they're no longer going to accept some of these mass-produced notebooks, partially because there are people using automation that are uploading thousands of spammy books. They're basically having copyright infringement and stealing people's interiors and covers and stuff. So Ingram Spark is standing up for their distribution partners, who are Amazon's distribution partners too. So it's just a matter of time for Amazon to maybe do a crackdown. And all of us that do good quality books are excited for this.
Yeah, and you see that happen all the time. So with Amazon Kindle Publishing, when I first got started in it, people were publishing PLR, and you would see, Moby Dick, you'd see 100 copies of it.
Right, and in 2011, they closed down all those accounts, remember? That was the big, so that could be happening now. Well, it's making people scared. And so my students that I teach, I told them never do any automation. Don't even have the stink of automation on your account.
Smart.
Amazon knows.
Yeah.
I was asked to test some of these automated uploaders, and I actually lost friends in the industry because I refused to have anything to do with it. And I told them, I said, you're ruining this for us. You're killing the golden goose by using this automation. Don't do it.
So what's the best way for someone? You talked about doing research, right? So
doing research is key, critical key.
So what's the best way for someone to go in? You're thinking about publishing a low content or even a no content book. What's the best way to go in and find out what you should be publishing?
Well, I teach a 4-step process, and it's research, create, upload, and scale, which I think is pretty much what you teach in your course for the most extent. And so you're researching just like you would with any book. If you're already authoring books on Kindle, you're going to go in. Too bad we don't have K-Lytics for low content books, or it would make my life so much easier.
So much easier.
So much easier. So you basically just go in and you put in your keyword in your search bar, and you look at what Amazon returns in its auto suggest. And then you take a look at some of those keywords, and you look at the BSR of the books that are on the page. Now that's
BSR being
bestseller rank.
Okay,
right.
Perfect.
So we're looking
and I know, Rebecca, you're a pro at this, so a lot of the words that are coming out, you're like,
I should be careful.
Speaking a second language. But we've got Johnny that's on here, or Rebecca, the second, who may just be new into low content, low content and no content. So that's why. But I love the fact that you're just throwing it out there and you know this. That proves how well you know your stuff.
Well, I do videos on YouTube, which kind of are, a little more basic, because I understand basic is critical to folks that are just getting started. So when I'm looking and I'm doing my research, I put in a keyword, and when I say a keyword, I mean, let's see, a planner for 2020. So I'm looking for a planner for, you want to think like a buyer. So I'm going to put in planner for 2020, because if I'm a buyer, I want a planner for 2020. Yeah. So I look at them, and there's so many. So I'm saying, well, I want to buy this for a friend, and she likes giraffes. So then I type in a longer tail keyword, which is planner 2020 giraffes, because now that's called niching down. I've moved into a niche of people who love giraffes.
Okay.
And now I'm going to look at the books that have giraffes on their cover. And so from a buying standpoint, I will look at one and I'll buy one. But from somebody who's a creator's standpoint, like myself, I want to look at how many books there are that have giraffes on the cover. And Amazon at the top on the left-hand side gives you your competitors. It tells you how many books exist for that keyword. Now, yes and no, it's basically showing you the competition of close to and also exact and not exact. So you have to understand Amazon a little bit, but it gives you your competition. And so then I'll drill down into that to look at my bestseller rank for those books. If the bestseller rank is really high, like millions and 2 million, there aren't very many people buying very often. And so that's an indicator to me, sure, maybe I'll make a book or two, and I can make multiple books. And that's where this industry is awesome. I can make 10 notebooks, each with different giraffe graphics on the cover.
Now, how long will it take you to do that? You've done your research and you know that there's a demand for notebooks with giraffes on them.
Right. So if I see that the numbers are, 100,000 and under, then I know that people are buying giraffes all the time.
Gotcha.
Giraffe notebooks. So it's really exciting to me. And if there's less than 1,000 competition, then it's a great marketplace. Because the one thing about low content books is they're consumables. As soon as somebody finishes writing in their notebook, they need another notebook.
I like
and
that.
That's the power of this marketplace. How long does it take me to make a notebook? I can actually, using just a lister tool that fills in my first page and everything else I do manually myself, I can upload 100 in about an hour or two.
Are you serious? Wow. Okay.
Very serious.
Yeah.
I make all my books in PowerPoint.
Gotcha. Okay.
So very simple. I know Photoshop. I have Photoshop. I have Affinity. I have all those products. Photoshop, PowerPoint is so simple to make books in. My layout, my interiors. I make very complex planner interiors with. I use PowerPoint like people use InDesign. I have InDesign. I've used InDesign. I can make a book in PowerPoint in minutes. That takes me a long time to make it in InDesign.
So you're knocking these out really quickly. So
whatever platform you make your books on, just realize that it's not the platform that makes the books, it's you. So you use whatever you're comfortable with to create these. So I have 4,000 books on Amazon.
Okay.
So, and I've made them in the last 2 years. I started doing low content books and I had like 3 books. I had a recipe book.
When you first started, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I actually had like 5 books. I have a couple of kids' books and a recipe book that sell all the time. And so from 2 years of having 5 books to today, I have 4,000 books.
Okay. All right. So if you're cranking 100 out at a time, I can see where that's doable. So now, the person that's just starting, right? So I know you said you create yours in InDesign, or you can use Photoshop.
Photoshop, PowerPoint, Illustrator, Affinity, Canva, Google Sheets, anything that gives you the output at 300 DPI to make it uploadable, because most of our books need to be 300 DPI print quality books.
Got it. Okay.
So that's the critical point. Google Slides doesn't do that. Keynote doesn't do that, but you can use other tools to make them 300 DPI. So a lot of people use that. So
high quality, crisp images.
High quality, crisp interiors. Right. So now the thing is what we're moving towards. There's notebooks, which are the no content books. There's guest books, which are very popular as well. Yeah. Easy to make as well. Just very few words. But what people are moving to, and I believe that it's the most successful path to making money in this business, is unique one-off books that are coloring books. You remember the coloring book fad? It's still here. It hasn't died.
And even adult coloring books.
Adult coloring books and kids coloring books, both.
Yeah.
The beauty about the kids marketplace is kids are entering the marketplace all the time.
Right.
A kid turns 4 years old. Millions of them turn 4 years old every year, and then kids age out into the next age group and the next age group, and the parents are always looking for books for that kid's age group.
Yep.
So you're always, whereas adult is an adult is an adult. An adult either likes geometric patterns or they don't. You're not going to make them like them. So a kid is experimenting, and a kid takes a book and he writes in it and he finishes it. A parent, if you're a parent, you know how many books you need to go through for a kid who's coloring. Now people go, well, I'm not going to spend $7 for a book for a kid. Oh yeah, our grandma does every day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there's moms that do it as well. Yeah, absolutely.
Moms do it, so books for kids to take on trips. Parents who have discretionary funds are looking for books for kids to take on trips. So trip journals are very popular. So these are moving into the more complex interiors and moving away from the beginner level no content books. These are called low content books.
Gotcha. Okay.
Low content books are activity books, word search, crossword puzzles, Sudoku, which is hugely popular. You can't make enough Sudoku books.
No, you can't.
Because a person, who goes to work takes a Sudoku book and they finish it in a week and they need a new Sudoku book. My husband is a crossword puzzle person, and we have heaps of crossword puzzle books all over the house because he finishes them or halfway does them and wants another one, or one catches his eye. So we have tons of crossword puzzle books.
My 12-year-old also, she loves crossword puzzles. So
exactly. So making them for young kids, making them for adults, also making them in large print for seniors. Big marketplace right there. And again, those are consumables. So constantly entering the marketplace need new books. Now those are more complex, so people who are spammers don't tend to be making these kinds of books because they take a lot more creativity, and if they try and make the same interior over many books, people will complain, and so they'll lose their account.
But you know, the benefit to that is it gives you a sense of uniqueness, right? And
Yes.
I think you could also have, so we're talking about activity books and word search books and crossword puzzles. You could have like a volume 1 or a volume 2, right? You could have crossword puzzles.
You can have multiple brand names.
Yeah,
you can
cars,
have
planes, everything.
So you can have a kids activity brand, you can have an adult activity brand, you can have a seniors activity, you can have a Christian puzzle brand, you can have a, any kind of, you can break it up. So I have quite a number of different aliases that I use.
Right.
And so this is where you're moving into a lot more selective marketplace. And then the next move is a wedding between what you're doing, which is why I got your course, and what I'm doing, because I make kids low content books. Okay. I make a kid's book is from between 400 to 3,000 words. And if you put some pictures in there, then you're making either a storybook, and traditionally kids books, younger kids books are only 40 pages long.
Yeah.
Easy to get out. I have an outsourcer. It cost me $60 or less to have the book written. I do the outline, I send it to them. So I've been doing what you're teaching. Yeah. I just want to get better at the selling component of selling these little kids books, because they sell really well.
And that's a huge market. There's never going to be a shortage of kids, like you said.
Never a shortage of kids. And you can make storybooks. You can make nonfiction books that are more scientific based. The market is huge. So that's the wedding between low content, because it's less than 3,000 words. Right. So people call that medium content.
Okay.
And I guess it's along the lines of what you would call short reads.
Yes.
So,
right.
Which are still a little bit more 5,000 to 10,000 words, I think, is a short read. So it's
we normally publish like 25 to 30 page books. That's my formula there. So with this, like, if we're looking at no content, let's say someone's watching this, they're looking to get started. What can they look to invest, to put into it? What's an average startup cost? I like that.
It costs you your internet connection, and I know people who go to the public library and upload.
Yeah.
So
hey, you know what?
If you live in Africa and you live in a third world country,
right.
Boom.
and it would be worth it. Listen, I put a post up earlier where I remember when I first was starting my first business, taking the bus to downtown to go to the library, to wait an hour, put my name on the computer sign up sheet, to be able to use the computer for 20 minutes. And then when my 20 minutes was up, I would have to go and sign up again. So to use it for an hour, I would be there for 4 or 5 hours.
Trust me, people go to the university campuses to use the computers there. I mean, if there's a will, and I mean, if there's a will, there's a way. People who really want to do something and do well can find a way. And that's what happened with low content books. Is the threshold to entry is 0, just like with merch. What happened with merch shirts is that Amazon opened merch shirts, and then it got filled with spammers, and so they ended up creating a tier system. So you start out with being able to upload 10 shirts, and then once your account is past a certain threshold, then they up you to 25 shirts. And so Amazon tiered their shirts because of the overwhelming response to that platform, because it does cost 0.
Yeah.
Will they do that with books? I don't know. This Ingram Spark email that came out telling people that they don't really like no content books anymore.
Kind of a warning.
It's a warning to people who are spamming the platform. If you're making good quality books, I don't think anybody has to be afraid. If you're making good quality books, they're unique. You're not, you can use free images from Pixabay, but in my mind, using free images takes a lot of time. You either have money or you have time. So if you're using free resources like Pixabay, you have to spend the time to make sure that it's not a trademarked image, that it's not stolen from someplace, that it's not an image that's uploaded incorrectly by somebody else, because you're the one who's going to get sued.
That is true.
So I would rather spend a little bit of money to buy images from the 10,000 graphic websites that are out there, Creative Fabrica, so many sites, Creative Market, and spend a little bit of money to have the peace of mind of the license. Then I don't have to run all over the place. And if Amazon writes me and says, prove that this is your content, I can send them my license, I can send them my interior, I can send them everything, and my books go through. So I never have to worry. Yeah, well, not in minutes, but I never have to worry.
Well, meaning you could send them your license and
in minutes.
To get proof that you have the right. So where does someone get started? If someone is watching this, if they're interested, or if they're listening to this on a podcast, where would they go to get started?
Well, of course, I'd love you to just buy my course, but at YouTube.
Hey,
YouTube teaches everything.
Here's what I want to do, though. Everything. You have a YouTube channel.
I do. It's Rebecca Holman Consulting.
Okay, Rebecca Holman Consulting. And
I can send you the link
as well.
And so I have a bunch of videos on there to help you get started. I show all my free research tools, which you might benefit from. So I use Amazon Suggestion Expander.
Okay.
I use DS Amazon Suggest.
Yeah.
And I have like 15 free keyword tools that I use that I recommend. Keywords,
and they can find these on your...
I have a whole playlist showing all that. And each one is a nugget of how I research. So each one shows a little bit how I research and go on to Amazon and show some different things of how to research on there. And then if you join my free Facebook group, in my free Facebook group, I actually have a getting started post, which has 10 videos showing you how to create a simple planner and how to upload it to KDP. So that's how you get started.
What's your Facebook group?
What is my Facebook group? I don't even know the name of my free Facebook group because I changed the name.
So here's what we'll do. We will make it. I want you guys to, right now, if you're watching this, right, here's what you want to do. Make sure you visit Rebecca's YouTube channel so that you can get access to, she's got a ton of stuff on here. When we actually initially spoke, I think a week and a half ago, and I took a look at her YouTube channel and I was kind of blown away by the amount of time and effort that she puts into it. This is something that you definitely want to explore. It's great to work on in addition to Kindle publishing. So visit her. All right. And looks like you just posted. So we've got Facebook. All right. So here's what we'll do.
So my link is KDP Low Content Book Creation Basics with Rebecca Holman. If you just type my name, Rebecca Holman, into Facebook, you'll find my groups.
HOLMAN is how you spell
Holman
as well. All right. So we've got you on Facebook. We have you on YouTube. Make sure you go in and you subscribe to her channel. Also, make sure you subscribe to our channel, which is at kindlecashflow.com/YouTube. And you'll see where a lot of this stuff goes hand in hand. So with what Rebecca's teaching, right, can help you to become a much better Kindle publisher in a way that I teach. And then the way that I teach can help you to become much better with no content and low content as well. So it's not like you have to do one or the other. You can
exactly. And the nice thing about understanding how to do KDP is understanding self-publishing. You're understanding print on demand.
Right.
And when you understand print on demand, I'm a person who's an advocate for multiple streams of income. You really should not have all your income on Amazon. As much as we love Amazon and it's an awesome, wonderful place, once you understand print on demand, you can go to other platforms. I mean, You have Vervante, you have Lulu, you have Ingram Spark, you have those publishing houses, but you also can take those PDFs of your books and other things, especially if you're learning how to make complex interiors for planners and pretty journals. You now have Etsy. You now have ability to create a Shopify store to sell digital downloads, which are hugely popular. Just go to Pinterest and type in digital printables and your eyeballs will pop. Go to Etsy and type in digital printables. And all we're doing is taking our planner interiors and repurposing them to put them on other platforms. So an immediate other stream of income by just repurposing something I already made.
Very cool. Rebecca, that's an entire interview right there. I'd love to have you come back and talk about some of the stuff. As a matter of fact, if you were watching this right now, or if you're listening, She just talked about different resources. She talked about other platforms that you can share some of your print on demand content on. She talked about a ton of resources. If you would like for Rebecca to share some of those other platforms, resources, and just other ways to create multiple streams of income, leave a comment below. All I need you to say is, I'm interested, right? So, or more Rebecca. So I'm interested or more Rebecca. And we'll definitely get around. I think I would love to have you on. We have actually maxed out on time right now. This was amazing. You certainly opened my eyes up to something that I think is huge and has the potential to get a lot bigger. You have 4,000 books and you're cranking these things out 100 at a time. And of course, you've been doing this for a while. You're an expert. But one last question here.
I do want to just caution.
Sure.
More is not better.
Mm-hmm.
Better is better. So don't think because I have 4,000 books that they all sell. They don't. It's the 80-20 rule all the time.
Yeah.
But better books sell. So I, just like Thomas Edison, I know 3,000 ways to not make a book. So it's really important. I learned because I didn't have a teacher when I started. There was nobody really teaching this. Right. So I made all the mistakes so you don't have to make them anymore.
She spent the time, she spent the money, she's made mistakes. Now you have a distilled formula that you can follow right from Rebecca. That's why it's so important to follow her on YouTube. Give us that YouTube channel one more time and we'll post the link as well. But I'd love to hear it again from Rebecca.
Just look up my name. Just look up my name on Facebook. And it is KDP Low Content Book Creation Basics.
That's your Facebook.
That's my free Facebook group with Rebecca Holman, and my name is on there because There's a lot of KDP folks out there now.
And your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is Rebecca Holman Consulting.
Got it. Okay. All right. Awesome. So Rebecca Holman Consulting. This has been a great call. I'm glad we were able to get this going.
Thank you so much for asking me.
Absolutely. This was a lot of fun. I think you've opened up
and I'm glad I discovered you in your class too. So I'm going to be adding some of your secret sauces into what I teach too for my low content people. So I'll be telling them about you too. So
well, I have a feeling that we'll be seeing each other and talking to one another many more times in the future as well. And like I said, folks, make sure you go in and comment more Rebecca. I think I actually like that comment the best, right? So more Rebecca. If you want to hear about some of her other resources, other sites to share, your print on demand, and just a ton of other things. I'm sure that we can get a lot more into another interview. So let's see what the audience says.
I think we're both here to help people become successful entrepreneurs, quit the 9-to-5, and make passive income for themselves and their family. I think you and I are both on the same mission.
And have a good time while doing it.
Have a good time doing what you love while you're doing it. Absolutely. My husband and I were going to go on a trip here, and I can just leave. I just need my phone and my laptop.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. That was going to be my last question there. So the thing that caught my interest was you put a post up in my Facebook group. So the Kindle Cashflow Mastermind Facebook group, if you guys are interested in joining it, if you're not part of a Kindle Cashflow group, just go to kindlecashflow.com/Facebook. So I saw a post by Rebecca that says something to the effect of, I retired my husband. All right. In 2 minutes, tell me a little bit more about that, because that was the whole reason why I wanted to interview you. And you blew me away with everything else, and I forgot about that.
I'm 63 years old, and so...
You would not be able to tell.
Black don't crack, baby.
There we go.
And so my husband was working super hard to the point that it was damaging his body. He worked in the newspaper industry and all the heavy lifting and all the other things like that. And so it was breaking my heart. Wow. And so I made a mission to, when the books came my way, I said, I'm going to set it so that I make a certain amount of money that replaces his salary, because I love what I'm doing. So it isn't hurting me to sit at a computer and, get up and use my rebounder, walk around the yard and come back and do some more work if I want to. So so for me to retire my husband, it was my mission to make enough books and have a consistent income coming in so that it would replace his salary, so that he didn't have to go and hurt himself anymore. And so I was able to do that last year. We paid off all our cars. Our cars are all paid for. our debt's all paid off. My college loan is paid off. All those things,
cool.
that's what passive income does for us. It helps us be free. And
There's
so you
nothing better than
set
that.
a goal. Nothing better than that.
Nothing
Set a
better
goal.
than that.
Have a why that keeps you, because when things go up and down, you have to know when you're at the base of the hill, you have to have a reason to want to climb to the top.
Correct.
And I think Seth Godin has a book called The Dip, and he talks about how people quit at the wrong time. I think many of us heard the story Inches from Diamonds. We've all heard that story. Well, it's the same thing. Seth is saying people quit right before they're about to go to that maximum rise in
gain
their
that
income.
Momentum.
Gain that they right at the dip of their momentum, right when they're about to go right up. So don't quit too soon. Invest, hit your goals, and reassess. Look around, reassess, and see if there's other ways that you can add multiple streams of income from the one thing that you're already doing. Many times you can repurpose that across multiple platforms. We live in the digital age of technology. There's so many ways to share our work and our message.
That's beautiful. And also bringing some money. I think that is beautiful. You and I share something similar. I just recently retired my wife from her job. She is a nurse who worked with medically challenged children.
So hard.
Oh, absolutely. So medically challenged children. So every once in a while, she would have children that would, because in the capacity that she's working with them, sometimes, they would need to be lifted or rearranged, and she started to have back problems. I mean, and she is passionate about what she does. She loves her patients. And I said, you know what? You are just 40 years old right now. If your back is hurting like that now, I mean, I know you love your patients. I know you love what you do, but you need to transition into something else. So now, while she's working on healing her back and finding out what the next thing is for her, we were able to bring her home. And it's a result of creating this digital, this digital real estate is what I like to call it. So digital real estate, in the sense where you have these multiple streams of income, which I'm glad you touched on, because that's exactly what they are here. So, Rebecca.
But I will say the nursing niche is huge to make planners for, and make other checklists and other things like that. So she can leverage that right away.
That is beautiful right there. So this interview has been valuable in so many ways here. I have a feeling that we could talk forever and ever and ever. So here's what you're going to do now. If you enjoyed this interview as much as I have enjoyed it, you're going to post what? You're going to comment more Rebecca right now, so that we get Rebecca on for another interview, and hopefully another one after that. And we'll talk about different things. So Rebecca, this has been amazing. If you're watching, make sure you subscribe to our channel by going to kindlecashflow.com/YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast by going to kindlecashflow.com/podcast. And if you are not part of a Facebook group, make sure you go to kindlecashflow.com/Facebook. And you can also watch the 3-part series on how to get started with Kindle publishing by simply going to kindlecashflow.com. Rebecca, greatly enjoyed your time, as well as, you are a wealth of knowledge as it relates to this. So you're highly appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Glad I could share something.